Imagine a vibrant discussion between people that includes both openness and critical thought in the pursuit of truth. The Purchasing Truth podcast is an experience, a journey, an exploration of the impact that negative messages in politics and the media have on our families, community, society, and nation. Join your hosts, Bill Stierle and Tom to discover new concepts and language strategies that will reveal effective ways of establishing truth. This podcast series will tackle current events, leadership challenges, healthcare confusion, integrity in business, and many other areas that affect us all. Gain clarity and understanding of the various truth perspectives. Welcome to Purchasing Truth.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Purchasing Truth. I'm Tom Hazard, along with your host, Bill Stierle. And, Bill, it seems every week, just when you think things can't get any more crazy or out of the normal, something else happens. And we've seen that again in the last week with Bill Barr being, interviewed on ABC to talking about Trump and his tweets. And of course, this is all relative to the sentencing recommendation for Roger Stone, who's been convicted of 7 counts of, many things against the government. And boy, I tell you, it's hard to wrap your head around what's going on here.
Well, one of the biggest challenges, Tom, that we're facing is the really kind of the exposure of how that someone in the place of leadership can dictate their version of what fairness and justice is. It's their version. And if they're in a place of leadership and they're not letting their people do the work, like, you got to let the judge be the judge. You got to let the prosecutors be the prosecutors. They're standing for the country you're representing. That is him pledging to uphold the law, not to get involved at that quote unquote lower level of things, even if it's his friend. Now, if he doesn't get elected in November, the chances are pretty high that he's going to pardon anybody that's in this space of friends being convicted, these loyal people, because he's doing loyalty to himself over loyalty to the law or loyalty to the country. And for Americans, this is not a surprise. For the people that have been watching Trump's career, is when he doesn't like things, he uses the law to get the things he likes. And when he doesn't do things, he uses time and the law, and he runs out the clock in order to get the things he wants. So he's used to using the system against itself, and to use time against the people that he doesn't like, or for the money that he doesn't want to pay. I'm not paying that person this. Yeah, I know this contract. Okay, throw it in court. Just don't pay him. Stop the checks. It's like, oh my gosh, you're not living to the contract that you signed. The answer is no, I'm not. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And even though I have a contract, I'm not doing that. And I'm willing to spend money and lose money to go with this new thought of either retaliation or fairness or whatever the narrative is that he's going with.
Yeah, I think that's very well documented in Trump's business dealings when, he'll negotiate a deal, start on it, get partway through it, change the rules. He decides, no, it wasn't fair. I don't want to pay that much. And then because he has so much money and can be sued and, use the legal system to his advantage, to drag things out and make other people have to spend more money and, like you said, more time than they have to try to get that money. He can wait it out and run out the clock for sure.
Yeah.
And then I agree with you that come December, January, if Trump is not reelected, we're going to see pardons for people like Paul Manafort and probably General Flynn and then also Roger Stone, regardless of what his sentence ends up being, according to the judge.
Yeah, it's really very, very difficult. And then with Bill Barr and the reducing of the sentence now in broad daylight, it's it's like, oh, it's brazen, it's in front. Whatever he says, I better do. I mean, you know, if Bill Barr would have waited, even a week, he had a better chance of being looked at as an observer than going like, yeah, I'll do it, just to see if it got, because I mean, I mean, Bill Barr is a different, if I'm using my own rules against myself, don't label and diagnose people. He is a fixer for the things that this individual wants. He's just a different version of Michael Cohen. It's very unsettling to even have that come out of my mouth, because it's like, really? And then it says, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, he's not following really the letter of the law, and he's not creating the law as an equal playing field. He's not doing that, because that's just, look at what's written on paper. It was prosecuted. This is the sentencing guidelines for this thing. And he goes, no, we're gonna reduce it because it's unfair because the president says so. 4 of the prosecutors resign over that, what they would call injustice. They fought from the letter of the law, and they won from the letter of the law, and the jury convicted from the letter of the law. And now all of a sudden you're going to say, well, the president doesn't think it's the letter of the law. Well, all of those 4 prosecutors could, like, I'm out.
Well, the really strange thing here, Bill, as a citizen observer, is that normally, if a attorney general or other public official that is in a co-equal branch of government, this could be like a senator, a representative, or in this case, the attorney general of the United States, would normally go out of their way to put up appearances that they're not, you know, showing favoritism to the president, that they're not actually supporting him directly. They try to maintain the illusion of independence. And that hasn't happened with Bill Barr, going back to like the Mueller report when he came out and put out the statement about it that was so clearly defending the president, and it was unnecessary. So that's why it was very strange this last week when Bill Barr went on ABC News. First of all, that's not Republican state-run TV like Fox News, right?
Right.
That's to label it. But
right.
It's, decidedly a mainstream media outlet.
Yes.
And to be interviewed and then to make statements that actually do try to put up the appearance that he's not just in lockstep with the president, saying his tweets are making it impossible for me to do my job, type of thing. To me, it was actually so transparent. At least it appeared to me. You could call me cynical, but I really don't think he was sincere, and that's what he was trying to accomplish. I think he was trying to accomplish a little window dressing, and maybe even communicating to the president without picking up the phone and talking to him, to say, hey, you don't need to tweet about this, I've got your back, which is really kind of what Laura Ingraham called out, if you saw her recent quote after that.
She did. She's the Trump does not take a phone call as real. He'll take it if you're on TV that you're real, but not a phone call. If you're talking with him, it's not real. It's the reality show. The real is what's on TV. It's not a reality show like that. It's the other way around. It's inverted, and the marketing and branding mindset does it that way. I know it's a weird thing to say, the marketing and branding and mindset. The marketing mindset looks for any opportunity, up or down, to promote a message that I have respect, I have self-worth, I have identity, I have recognition, I have acknowledgement. My way is the right way. So whether it is Obama's birth certificate, or I think it's really unfair, Roger Stone's sentencing, he's taking the opportunity for somebody to hear a message from him that meets his need for respect and recognition at the expense of truth. That's what's happening. It's, you could call them any psychological label and diagnosis. It just skims off of him. You could throw any letter of the law and he'll run out the clock on the law. He'll run out the clock on persistence by just continually to market a message. You can't, it's a weird thing to say. You can't shut up a marketer and a brander for keep marketing and branding that they know what they're doing. I know what I'm doing. I'm the best at what I'm doing. People say that I'm even the best of the best. Nobody in American history has ever done this. You're right. No one in American history has ever been a branding and marketing communicator to the level that you've been. Reagan got closer, but I'm not sure if he would even have a match with you, because he was a film star and you were a TV star, and you've got to hit your 22 minutes before the commercial break and say that you're fired to one of these people, and the show's got to be set up so that you're fired, so that sentence has got to come in 22 minutes or whatever it is, 44 minutes. That's all you got, and you better use every sentence you get to make sure it looks like it's real. And it's really, it looks like it's real.
Well, it's
That's what
interesting.
we're doing.
That is crazy that that's what we're doing. The real, one of the more real parts of this is now, I think, what is it, about 2,000 prosecutors or, Justice Department officials or ex-Justice Department officials, whatever, Republicans and Democrats, this is not, one-sided, have come out to say what Barr has done with this sentencing guideline, statement, and actually not just statement, but actually changing what the prosecutors had recommended to the judge, the ones who resigned, is completely out of bounds.
Yes, it's an
and
overreach.
is worthy of him resigning, and they're calling for his resignation as Attorney General.
That's correct.
But that seems to not be having the impact that they would hope it has.
No, it's not having the impact. It's there's no handcuffs coming for him. There's who is going to tell who to go and remove him for breaking the law? Nobody is. There's no person or group of people that are going to say to some kind of authority person, law and order. Remember, the order part is the police department or the military. The law part, law and order, that's why that show here's this law thing that we have with these judges and these attorneys, and this trial part, and here's the law part of this person get arrested or dealing with this crime. Law and order, law and order. There's the disassembly of the law part and the order part is there's no law and order with this president at the current time.
And I think the reality of the position of the Attorney General is, and I have to admit, I don't even know this, I don't think there's a mechanism to remove the Attorney General other than the president firing him if he wants to. I don't think anybody has the power to remove a cabinet member other than the president. Is that true?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's that he's an appointed position and he gets hired and fired. It's like the same. So he can hire and fire anybody he wants, even if the person didn't have anything to do with it, because it's not because the person's not able to or doing their job with ethics and integrity. Is I don't like this person. He's hiring, firing, not on a performance evaluation. Can you imagine, you know, you and I firing somebody just because we don't like it with no HR support and no documentation of wrongdoing?
Oh my
Oh my
gosh,
God.
we'd be
We go to
sued for
court in a
wrongful
second.
termination.
Wrongful
Yeah.
termination. There's no wrongful termination. That's, I mean, the Vindmans, is a great example. It's, you can't fire someone's brother because the other brother said that, and for telling the truth.
Right. I was happy to see the former chief of staff Kelly come
Yeah.
out and make the statement that he did about Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, and that he absolutely did the right thing. This is what we train soldiers to do, and all the sort of thing. He really did,
Yes.
I think, the right thing in making that statement. But again,
Yeah.
it really shows what, I mean, I don't think that presidents and administrations in all of United States history have really been so overtly,
Like proactive or brazen,
well,
or
brazen, I guess,
it's really brazen at
in
this point.
in
Yeah.
in just wielding whatever power they want, and actually exploiting, I think, the powers that exist in the executive branch,
Yeah.
and basically with this attitude that, yeah, well, go and throw me out. And now, especially because Trump's been impeached and not removed,
Mhm.
the only power that exists to change any of this lies with the American people in November.
Yeah, and leaving it up to the American people is problematic, because they are they don't know the intricacies of and the nuances that are needed to be in government and to tolerate multiple opinions and be able to disappoint that, that you're not going to get it your way. As one Republican said in I can't remember, Virginia, yeah, we, they voted for Democrats, so we're gonna succeed and we're gonna join, you know, West Virginia. It's like, what happened to be the loyal opposition? You lost because they didn't like the way you were going and they voted you out. It doesn't mean you get to go someplace else. So it really, with these prosecutors asking for this resigning to take place, and Barr not going to resign, because he's not going to resign.
No.
There's no way he's going to resign. He's going to say, yeah, I need to resign. I don't think there's anything that Trump is going to say or do that is going to cause Bill Barr to resign. Even if, like Trump said, I can shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and I won't lose one vote. There's not, there can be a video of him doing that, of him taking it out on somebody, and it would be really hard to believe that. And everybody's maybe thinking is like, really, Bill? I mean, even if there's a video of him, doing that to somebody, his, followers will say there must have been a good reason why to shoot that innocent person. It's because they were harassing him. They weren't respecting him. They weren't blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh my gosh, because he has, as a marketing and branding person, it's all about being in front of, being the person that has power and commands and is an advocate, that this way I am the person that's the spokesperson to do that. And there's no subtlety, in a branding and marketing person. They're not going to wait until Okay, you're not going to be in. Now you get to pardon all your friends. No, he's going to speak up right now. It gives an opportunity for him to have influence now. He doesn't want to have influence later. Marketing and branding does sell now. So this is an opportunity to sell, and then when Barr says, well, he's not helping with his tweets, he's not helping with the nuance of me doing what he would like me to do. He's not helping me do my thing to cover his tracks as he goes. It's not helping me.
Right.
He's not helping me by this marketing thing that he has. And it's really, really, really unsettling. But now all of a sudden you got over 2,000 prosecutors asking him to resign. And he's not going to do it. In other words, there's no handcuffs coming for him. There's nobody telling him to go. And he's already conceded that his legacy is going to be, when he dies, he's okay with this. He said it on news. He goes, everybody dies. It's like, oh my gosh, he is in it, this identity as the cover-up guy for his life. He's not interested in justice as much.
Right.
He's interested in supporting the party and the person that he would like to support, the idealism that he would like to support.
And it has really turned the idea of three co-equal branches of government on its head, because here you have, the Justice Department not acting independently. The president has no fear of the Justice Department whatsoever. And what I mean by that is no healthy fear of it. He doesn't respect them as an independent power. He is acting and believes they bow to him, they serve him, that they're just another tool of the executive branch, which they're not in that sense. At least they weren't supposed to be constitutionally.
It's different. A corporation, a business owner, runs a certain way. Usually the board kind of holds the, business owner and the entity accountable. The board does, and Trump doesn't have that. He doesn't have anybody telling him not to do things. So, Tom, you'll notice that the two of us are going to get worked up about this, and we'll sound very, very much like a partisan, mindset, right? Because we're worked up about need for justice. This is what happened. This is the way we see it. But if we're really going to up our game on purchasing truth, we need to take a turn towards compassion and empathy towards Barr.
Okay.
And take a turn towards compassion and empathy towards Trump. Take a turn towards compassion and empathy towards the senators that voted the way they did.
Okay.
So it takes a little bit to slow down to get that one. Because if somebody is trying to meet someone else's need for support, like Barr is doing for Trump, and Trump is trying to get his need for being heard met, and trying to get his need for loyalty and how much he sees loyalty. Now, we can argue if it's distorted loyalty or if it's, high quality loyalty. We can have that argument, but in his mind, it's still loyalty.
His loyalty to Roger Stone, you mean?
His loyalty to Roger Stone. His loyalty to the people that voted for him. When he talks about the reason why he can talk about such conviction about the wall, such conviction, is because he's speaking from a place of loyalty. You voted for this, I'm delivering you this. And it sounds truthful, and it is from a place of loyalty. So it still resonates with the voter that voted for him. There's no wobblies in his voice. He's advocating for a truth regarding a loyalty. And then at the end, he gets to shrug his shoulders and go, well, we did the best they could, but those Democrats got in our way. He still gets that I followed loyalty for your vote. And I have someone to blame for not executing the vote the way you would have liked me to. And his respect and his recognition and his self-worth all stays in place because he's concentrating on that need, you know. And it's really difficult because it's the same trap that people in the mafia get trapped in. Family, loyalty. It's the same trap that people that get stuck in a religious cult. They get stuck, they're loyal to their marketing and branding person of their version of whatever cult or religion that they're in. And they're following him down that line. And it's tough. The human condition really buys into loyalty. So even though the 2,000 prosecutors are fighting for the need for truth and are saying you need to resign because you're not following the letter of the law, he gets to look back at them and saying, I'm in service to my boss who I am supporting and I am loyal to him. I am not loyal to the law or your opinion of the law. My opinion of the law.
Yeah, that's what he would say, not the law. He would say it's your opinion of
your
the
opinion
law.
of the law. Now, if there was a news interviewer that had any of the savvy that you and I are talking from, they would ask, it sounds like that you're really following the loyalty to the president versus the loyalty to the truth of the law. And I could see how you're going for that in order to meet his need for respect and recognition. And you really want to hear how much you support. You want him to hear how much you support him. Period. Now, what's he going to say? He's going like, oh my gosh, they just called me out on it. Because that's what I'm doing from here, not from here, from the heart versus the head.
He might deny it, but he's going to look really petty as he does it.
He will, because the truth is that, and as Laura Ingraham said, is that, he's wink, wink, I got your back. Please stop tweeting. Give me time to cover this up with low media coverage. Don't expose this. If you want something done, call me on the phone. But then Barr gets on there, he goes, well, I got to clean this up. So I'll go on media. I'll be this soft-spoken person that broadcasts with my language ambiguous reasons. Meanwhile, everybody dies, and my legacy is the person that covers up and stabilizes somebody that's not stable.
He really is the president's internal government sanctioned fixer, just like Michael Cohen was.
Yeah, he is. And there's people that fix things for other people that make mistakes and they clean it up. There's cars that break down and there's lawyers that fix that. There's an injustice that takes place and there's somebody that fixes that, and then somebody's left on the other end of the stick with not the justice that they would like or not the fairness they would like. And there's all kinds of fixers outside in the environment, and he's just one at the top. And there's a brazen, straight out, I'm fixing because I'm loyal. Yeah.
Well, Bill, I think what you said a few minutes ago that, if we look at it from a place of compassion, we can understand it better and maybe not get ourselves so worked up over it.
That's right.
Which maybe is helpful in the moment so that my blood pressure doesn't rise and all that good stuff. Right. But we really do need others in our nation, I think the news media in particular, and our other politicians maybe running and competing for offices currently held by incumbents, to get some communication skills and be able to, like you just said, pointed it out, if you were interviewing Bill Barr, what you might say
Right.
that calls him out on it and doesn't just let him get away with
Yeah.
marketing and branding as he
Yeah.
would like.
Yeah. See, and even Bernie Sanders or Mike Bloomberg or Pete Buttigieg, the current leaders in the group, even those folks, they've got to stop calling Trump a liar. Don't call him a liar anymore. Say the president is struggling with truth. He's having difficulty and he's not clear about what truth is. Don't you think that's just a tad bit more powerful than diagnosing him?
It's a lot more powerful.
Now, all of a sudden, it's like the president is struggling with truth. He's not as stable with the truth as I'd like him to be. Huh?
Well, the president doesn't even know how to respond to such a thing, except to
No.
make him look, he would make himself look more unstable because
He will
would
walk into the
knee-jerk
trap of
react.
not being
Yeah.
stable. That's right. He walks into the trap as many marketing and branding people do. I'm going to fix this by over broadcasting and calling this guy names. Gosh, I'm really feeling disheartened that the president chose to meet his need for respect by calling me a name. Gosh, isn't that something that an eighth grader does? Feel disheartened that he chose that type of language. Gosh, I think an adult style language might serve us better moving forward.
And
Now,
might serve the nation better going forward. I mean, you can really start to go that way.
Yeah, I think the nation needs to have a breath of fresh air with respectful language versus power over language. And the president really struggles with power over language. I really want to honor the president for using power over language to get him elected the last time around. I'm not thinking power over language is going to serve us moving forward as a nation.
Yeah. Well, you hear a pin drop in the debate.
Even online, as I'm speaking from my heart. Things now, if you want to take away his marbles, it's easier to say, gosh, I can see how the president is going for loyalty here, and he's really going to do anything for his loyal friends, even though they've made some serious mistakes. Gosh, I wonder how the president is going to do this regarding loyalty. I guess maybe the president will pardon him when they get out, but I'm wondering why he's using this moment here to get his need for respect and recognition met. I guess he's just being loyal and sending a message to people that, he's going to get respect for himself no matter what. Did I just call him a name? No, I'm just stating what he's doing in a compassionate way. It was very, very hard for me a few moments ago before I said, Tom, we need to take a left. We need to take a right turn here. We need to get a right turn here. And you're going like, oh my God, where's this interview going to go? Right? Where is this thing go? Because we were on the up ramp and ready to push him off the cliff. It's like, you just can't, because there's nobody there with handcuffs right now. There's nobody there. There's not a law that he's willing to follow. There's not a person that's going to be able to admonish him. I mean, he doesn't even allow people giving him cover to give him cover. Susan Collins, that poor,
oh my goodness,
naive communicator, says he's going to learn his lesson. I'm going like, you are going to get eaten by a wolf by saying that.
Oh, she did. She's
and
done.
She did.
That is the soundbite that is going to be played over and over in Maine by any opponent to her.
Any opponent.
She's going to lose the election. She lost the election when she said that right there. She really did.
And all they got to do is set that clip up to the next clip. I guess loyalty has its limits. I mean, if I'm advising her main campaign, the person against her,
right,
I'd say, this is what loyalty gets you. This
loyalty
is what
to party over country. Yes.
This is what loyalty over party gets you. Clip, done. I think we in Maine are better than this.
Yeah.
That's it.
And actually loyalty to party over the citizens that elected you. I mean, they
The
could make it more
citizens' election,
personal, and
personal.
then so that those voters think,
Yeah,
yeah, I want someone who's going to be loyal
to
to us
me,
in
to us
Maine.
in Maine. I don't want to be represented by this woman here. I just
This
don't.
woman who just leans whichever way the
And
Republican
I
wind
mean,
blows, right?
it's just it's the people just keep trying to get it done. I mean, it's not a fight. Compassion and empathy is not a fight. It's just a power with language that is more grounded, more in integrity with what is going on, and then also says, here's the good reason why this person is saying and doing things the way they're doing. And it keeps your rational mind more engaged than your limbic brain, your
Yeah.
emotions, and your protective language. That's when you're caught in fight and flight. In this language, you're caught in a place of, yeah, I could see what they're doing, and that's not the strongest direction for us to go. It's not the strongest direction. You know, I mean,
Bill,
it's just not.
doesn't this language and this approach, this compassionate language and approach, doesn't it really peel back the curtain
It
on
does.
what's really going on? It's kind of like that moment in The Wizard of Oz where Toto pulls back the curtain on
That's right.
the wizard pulling the levers, right?
Yes, that's
And
right.
the marketing message is the projection of the
The
wizard.
wizard.
And
Yeah.
this kind of language, instead of just saying you're a liar, you're wrong,
Yeah.
it actually reveals the truth.
That's right. That's right. And that's why we're I mean, this is the whole motive of us hanging out here and really going the extra mile to get this content back. And online, we've been getting great, people feedback, saying, hey, they're loving this podcast. And the reason why is because we're not always in the place of them bad, we're good, they're bad. It's like, no, that's not it. It's like, here's the motive that allows a senator to get up and say things to protect this person, that from a place of loyalty and pumping respect in their direction, and allows that person to have compassion at the same time. It's like, do we really want this in our leadership? It's like, well, not necessarily. It's not necessarily a leadership that leans and lands on stuff. And it's really, really tough. I think truth needs a resurgence. The that when somebody posts things on Facebook, you got to check it out through the various different media outlets that do fact checks, whether it's Snopes or some of the other online truth. Is this thing a falsehood or not? I want to know before I repost it.
I've actually seen a few posts on Facebook that people post that make claims that Facebook has identified as they've fact checked it and they have found that the content of the post to not be true. I've started to see some of that happen, and I don't know that they're succeeding, to the level that needs to happen on Facebook, but I am starting to see a change in that. So that's interesting too.
Yeah, the verification part of it is really very, very much significant. It is so significant to do that.
Hopefully it's not too little too late for the next election.
Yeah. So the next thing I think, Tom, that we can take a look at, as we're kind of coming up to the election is what's the off ramp? There's got to be an off ramp. If you don't have an off ramp, if you're not planning for the off ramp, then what happens is when the decision is made, you become flat footed. So after the Mueller report, the Democrats were flat footed. No worry. He just walked into his next bear trap.
Yeah.
They impeached him. They
Right.
were not ready with the messaging to move on to all the people that voted. They just had this glob of votes. They needed to move specifically on those senators that were up for re-election. They did not move on them. If you want to purchase truth, you need to know what your off-ramp is. Let me say it this way, Tom. Whenever I'm going into a high conflict mediation, before I enter the room, I answer this question for myself. I spend 2 to 3 hours on this question. What is the worst thing that someone is going to say in that room? And what am I going to say back to it? I do not come into that room flat-footed. I know my off-ramp.
Yeah.
I know my off-ramp. You got to know. So what I'd like to do next time when we're together is talk about crafting a off-ramp.
I think it's fantastic.
If we craft an off-ramp, and the Republicans have got to craft an off-ramp too, because they don't know where they're going to go either. They didn't know what they were going to do with this guy. And then all of a sudden he wins, and they're going like, oh my gosh, how can we contain him? At the same time as how can we get these things that we would like done? And they got one of the two things they wanted done. They wanted to repeal the Obama thing, and they didn't do it. McCain
done, but they
saved
got
it.
their tax cut.
Tax that.
Yeah.
If McCain didn't meet my need for respect and fairness for the nation by not doing the same thing with that vote, same as Mitt Romney didn't meet my need for respect and trust by not voting for obstruction. Clearly, if you're going to tell the truth, telling the truth halfway doesn't get you there.
Right.
Just vote both of them. Don't give yourself a little out. Well, I didn't think obstruction was there. It's like, dude,
yeah,
it was right there.
He tried to walk both sides of it, and it didn't work because, of course, the party has turned on him. Talk about loyalty issues, very, very, very difficult. All right. Well, I'm interested to talk about the off ramps next time.
Yeah, the off ramps is that what the question is that if the next president wins, what will they do? What will they do? What will they say? They cannot depend on the rule of law. They have to have a stronger off ramp than the law says he has to go. It's like he hasn't paid attention to the law for his entire life. How is that going to work? Okay, so more to come, Tom. This has been a great session.
All right, thanks so much, Bill.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this Purchasing Truth podcast. We trust that you have enjoyed this engaging and thought-provoking conversation. Our hope is that you've received value, found clarity, and broadened your truth perspective in this episode. If you did, leave us a review or visit our website, purchasingtruth.com. Join us again for another informative and content-rich discussion here at the Purchasing Truth podcast. Don't just accept whatever information comes your way. Join the discussion. Discover your own voice. Purchase your own truth.